Now, of course, Villa have pulled up trees. They're in the Europa Conference League next season. You poo-pooed that as a tournament, but now do you see when West Ham won it and the euphoria around West Ham after they did that, the same could happen for Villa?
Oh, no, but it still doesn't change my mind about the competition.
Why?
The competition, it's a first of all, it's a third-rate competition. It's just a second.
Is this because you won the European Cup? Is this a bit of snobbery here?
Well, actually, possibly is, but it's actually to do with when you set out as a player, as a manager, European qualification was something that you aim for. And if you didn't finish in the top 6, the chances are that you wouldn't be in European football. So if you can finish 7th and being a competition that really has just been in existence the last couple of years, everybody playing European football now doesn't seem to be the reward that it was years ago. That's my point. So but while you're in it, you might as well go and win it. So when West Ham were in the competition, West Ham were going to be playing mostly against sides that, with a little bit of luck, I know it's Thursday, Sunday games, and I know it's all of those particular things, but with a little bit of luck, should be able to beat. Their record was impeccable. It was fantastic, and they go on to win the competition. And that, when you're there, absolutely. Would anybody, when you reach the semi-final and final of the competition, it is a fantastic day for the supporters. I will not take that away from it. It doesn't mean that the competition is not of the calibre that you're talking about European football.
But that's
being
because
so.
you won the European Cup.
It's not to do with
yes,
winning.
It is. You wouldn't be saying that had you not won the big one.
I think I would be saying this. I think I would be saying it. I think I would be saying this, and I think that the likes of Manchester United in 1968 and Celtic in 1967 and Real Madrid. I think all of those particular players would be saying that was the competition. Then it was, if you won your national cup competition, you went into the European Cup Winners' Cup and became a competition. And then there was the sort of UEFA Cup. There were enough things to be going on. They will invent, as I said to you, you'll play in Europe if you avoid relegation. That does not mean that while you're there not winning it, and that does not mean that West Ham fans have had a great day, and that doesn't mean that David Moyes will not enjoy that. Absolutely, I get all of that, and it's great when you've gone there. It's absolutely terrific. And if Celtic had been in that competition, Celtic would have brought maybe 60,000 people to the final. Of course, that's right. But it doesn't stop me making my viewpoint is that the competition has been invented in the last couple of years for a reason that is beyond me. That's the point.
Are you having the Europa Conference League, Simon?
We already know the answer to that question. You've already managed
no.
Well, no. Insofar as what Martin has said, I can't. We've agreed upon this. It's violent agreement. We both think that it's a third-rate competition. But if you're in it, you might as well win it.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't celebrate it. I don't say, look at that. As an impartial observer, which I am, I'm neutral. I don't care if West Ham won this competition or they didn't. If I were a West Ham fan and I was in it, I would say, great, wonderful. But when you're looking as a student of football, and someone that looks at football with the legacy of the history of what's been achieved, we all know that this is a third-rate European competition. And Martin's quite right. Eventually we'll get to the point where if you finish from 4th and bottom in the league, all the teams in European competitions that finish 4th and bottom in the league will go into the 4th and bottom of the league European, whatever it is,
so this
charity league.
This Thursday, Sunday schedule, Martin, that Villa will have to negotiate, that Brighton will have to negotiate, is it as tough as we're all told it is?
Oh, yes, it is tough. It is tough, and it's mentally tough, and it's psychologically a concern, because it is you feel as if you're playing catch-up all the time. You're playing on a Sunday where a lot of teams have maybe played on the Saturday. And even, it sounds crazy to say, that you feel as if there's less time to prepare from a Thursday to Sunday rather than a Wednesday to Saturday. Maybe that's just me. But even so, here's my points. You're going into a competition where the chances are Aston Villa are going into this particular competition that Aston Villa will be far stronger than most of the sides in it. So probably might not affect them in the same manner. In fact, in the early rounds of the competition, Aston Villa might be able to use some players that might not be playing in their league team. So from that viewpoint, it's probably worthwhile. But that's...
So if we agree that Europa Conference League is a third-rate European trophy, Does
But it is, though.
Leicester winning the League Cup under your good self constitute Leicester winning a third-rate domestic competition?
Well, that's no. The League Cup was used as
Do you need time to think, Martin?
No. Plenty
It
of
was
time to
created
think.
for the FA Cup, for guys that get knocked out in the early rounds of the FA Cup and big clubs to have another competition to play and to keep their revenues up. That's why the League Cup was created.
The League Cup was created. Well, the League Cup was created by, I think, around
In the
about
60s.
1960s,
Correct.
early 60s,
So
and
does
it's a
that make
two-leg
it-
final.
it's third rate?
Just
It
let
is.
me. Well, okay. It was third rate and was always considered third rate by Arsene Wenger until he stopped winning leagues, and then suddenly it became important again. In fact, Arsene Wenger
But you
once.
know it is, Martin.
Arsene-
It is the third least valuable competition to win in
I'm not
English football.
disagreeing.
So
I'm
that
not
makes it
disagreeing.
third rate then, yeah?
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's right. Okay, fine. All right, we'll go with that there. Third-rate competition. Takes you into European football. Took you
But
into
it's
the
still
UEFA Cup.
yeah.
It didn't take you into.
But
It didn't take you into the UEFA Conference League.
Hold on, you. The European Conference League takes you into the Europa League, which you're quite happy to be in because that's the old Cup Winners' Cup League.
Yeah,
So
well,
by
in fact,
definition, it's the same thing then.
Right. Okay. Fine. Listen, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
I'll take
okay.
it.
So much.
Well,
You didn't need to give it to me. I had it.
You'd better take it.
But arm wrestling going on there.
Isn't it strange now that the League Cup now has actually, believe it or not, gone into prominence in the recent years by the teams that have been winning it.
But it's
No?
also the cup they want to drop.
Yeah.
If they get their way, the big clubs.
They've always wanted to drop it.
But
They've always
they
wanted to
didn't
drop it,
initially
you know?
because its concept was about giving the big clubs that are knocked out of the FA Cup early another cup to play in. That was the genesis of the why the League Cup was
Well,
created.
how could it have been
It's a fact.
How could it have been that there?
Go look at the history of the League Cup.
If the early rounds of the League Cup were played away back in September before the FA Cup was actually in existence.
i.e. the clubs that get knocked out of the FA Cup in January.
Yeah.
Go look at the genesis
Yes,
of the
yes,
why
go
the
on,
League Cup was created.
I'm
it was
with
based
you.
upon bigger clubs getting an opportunity to keep their revenues up by playing in a competition that they might be more successful in if they go out earlier. Now, I understand your point, which is the League Cup came early in the calendar.
Well,
but
that's my
notwithstanding
point,
that,
you know, so that doesn't make a great deal of sense.
Well,
so were they?
I'll go back to the genesis of it.
Were
and the
they
League
just?
Cup-
Were they just?
Google the League Cup's
Soothsayers.
correct- yeah, they could
Soothsayers.
have
They must have
been,
been soothsayers. They must realise that. Well, they're going to go out of the competition, so we'll invent a new competition which actually takes place before the competition that they're in.
No,
Simon,
hold on.
listen, honestly, no.
First and foremost, the
I've
bigger
had a heavy
clubs
night last night.
the bigger
I don't know.
clubs in
I'm just not getting
The
this.
bigger clubs in Division 1 didn't come into the League Cup as early as you're suggesting.
Oh, they came in early enough. They still came in before the third round
They
of the
did.
FA Cup. Yeah,
They
okay,
did.
So fine.
But again,
Yeah.
once upon a time, because I was trying to create an argument around why the League Cup should be kept.
Which
You
is
said-
what you love doing.
No, I'm trying to create an argument. The point is that when I was looking at the League Cup, because the argument's been advanced for the last 4 or 5 years that they must get rid of the League Cup because all of the leagues around Europe are getting rid of their third cup.
Okay,
and
fine.
that's why I looked into the League
Okay.
Cup, and I'm going to go away and look at it again. And when we come back after the break, I'm going to make my point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's hope
Brilliant.
Villa
Okay.
or Brighton go on and win the Europa Conference League. That
Of
would be
course,
great.
and they've got and Aston Villa in particular would have a really good chance of
Oh,
winning.
in fact, Brighton are in the Europa League. You're right. Producer Luke's just correcting me. Well done.